I feel fantastic.
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 Robot, a singing robot named Tara.
Tara the android.
Tara the android.
An android called Tara.
This video is an admission to murder.
The creator of the video actually murdered his wife.
This was a serial killer.
And there's a random shot of what looks to be someone's backyard.
Which is rumored to be a spot outside where the real Tara is buried.
Tara the android was perhaps wearing the victim's clothing.
That the clothes that this android is wearing.
The victim's clothes.
Nah, that.
Disturbing and uncomfortable to watch.
What the is that?
That's creepy.
Hello, is this John? Is it John Bergeron?
John Bergeron.
John Bergerons.
John Bergeron.
John Bergeron androids.
The year is 2009 when a video titled I Feel Fantastic goes viral. I Feel Fantastic is an extremely bizarre video featuring a lifelike robot named Tara, an alleged whopping 5'10" animatronic that moves in an uncanny and frankly unnatural way. Like, why's she doing that? What is that? The song she sings is actually relatively simple. The background music is someone poorly doing an arpeggio, which is simply this, while she repeatedly sings the same few phrases in an extremely monotone voice. I feel fantastic. Hey, hey, hey. You feel fantastic. Hey, hey, hey. Run. Please leave. Please me. I don't really know what that one lyric means. I've always wondered. So on and so forth. The dark, uncovered windows, the random scenic shot that has absolutely nothing to do with the video in and of itself, and the poor video editing left people with an extremely unsettled feeling at the end. For many of us, this was the first experience of the uncanny valley effect. The song itself has since been copyrighted, but it's etched into internet history, a haunting melody that's instantly recognizable to those who have watched. So let's go back to the year 2006. On May 13th, 2006, a user by the name of Aliasadsum would upload a video called The Future. This video was borrowed from a GeoCities website, which, in case you don't know what that is, GeoCity was a web hosting service that allowed users to create and publish websites for free, and to browse user-created websites by their theme or interest, active from 1994 to 2009. This 14-second clip showcased a black-haired robot repeatedly saying brutal while someone was just wailing on a guitar in the back. This may very well be the first known, traceable appearance of something that would spark the beginning of the internet's fascination with this unsettling creation. And although this video has a pretty low amount of views, it may have planted the seeds of curiosity that would soon bloom into full-on intrigue, as it wasn't long before others would soon follow. Android music videos posted Electric Metal, which garnered over 10,000 views, featuring the exact same bot. I Feel Fantastic, or Fantastic Hey Hey Hey, would go on to be uploaded multiple times over, and not even just on YouTube. In fact, this series of odd and unexplained videos began to pop up all over the internet. On April 15th, 2009, a user by the name of CreepyBlog uploaded the video that would soon go viral titled I Feel Fantastic. The odd nature of this video was unsettling enough, but what really got people was the description on this video. In ancient Greek mythology, Pygmalion was a highly accomplished Cypriot sculptor. Though skilled at imitating the human form and well acquainted with its subtleties, he became disgusted by it when he witnessed the proprietides prostituting themselves. These women were punished by Venus for their lack of worship, with a coarseness of skin and a crudeness of nature, and were then forced into prostitution. Seeing this, Pygmalion the sculptor was repelled and could no longer appreciate women. Seemingly alone, Pygmalion sought to create for himself a perfect, pure, unsullied companion. He used his particular skills to this end. He created a statue bride. What you are about to watch is a mysterious video. Its origin is attributed variously, and almost certainly spuriously, to various abstract artists or surrealists. The truth is that what we are seeing, and what we perceive to be strange and disturbing, is actually beauty to its creator. Perhaps what we are viewing is the work of a modern Pygmalion. To him, her toneless voice, the paleness of her skin, and the comparative vibrancy of her lips may indeed be the very embodiment of a perfect woman. Consider the mindscape of the creator. In whose mind does this appear beautiful? In whose mind is this pure, near worshipful? Are we missing out on his perspective? Who are we to be afraid of, or to judge them? He may well love her fully, perhaps more fully than any of us could ever hope to be loved. In the mind of her creator, she is a near goddess, the perfect representation, not just of femininity, but the peak of human potential. A perfectly satisfactory being. How does that kind of unconditional love feel? Well, how does she feel? Fantastic. The description is referencing Pygmalion, a Greek mythological figure who was a sea period sculptor. As noted, Pygmalion saw the daughter of Proprietides taking part in prostitution, although it sounded like it was unwilling, and after being so disgusted by this, he became celibate. He occupied himself instead by making a sculpture of a woman he found to be so perfect, he ended up falling in love with her. He fell so in love with it, in fact, he would kiss the sculpture, bring her gifts, and even go as far as making a bed for her. Soon after, Aphrodite's festival day arrived, and Pygmalion made offerings to her altar. He wished for a bride to be the living likeness of my ivory girl. Upon returning home, he kissed his statue, and found it to be warm. He kissed it once more, and the ivory had lost its hardness. Aphrodite granted his wish. He married the sculpture, had a daughter with her, and in some versions of the story, they instead had a son. He kind of sounds like an incel, but that's besides the point. Shortly thereafter, on September 2nd of the same year, a channel named Halloween Android would go on to post a new variety of these videos, though with a far more disturbing and unsettling undertone.
Hey, my name is Tara. Don't try this at home. Look at the new face my designer made for me. These shoes are too big for me. Bye.
These videos have little to no explanation, just descriptions, and the final video featuring Tara would be just a little over a month later. By 2010, the internet's collective interest into the story had really begun to peak. With all this unexplained and frankly very unnerving content being discovered, it wasn't long before conspiracy theories began to form around it. People began to theorize on Reddit, the video themselves, forums, and across the web, to the point where people in other countries were coming up with theories. This is French and roughly translates as, watch the video with the bloody background and the EMC looking at you, freaking out when the music comes on. Okay, so here's my theory. The individual who made this is in fact a serial killer. The combination of shots and the animatronic mannequin and the zoom into the backyard are connected. In one of the other videos, you can see the wiring that operates the mannequin, then in another shot of the backyard, you see that same bundle of wires running through the grass. Here's my theory. The serial killer buries his victims alive in a box with an audio detector of some kind. As the victim screams, the detector picks up on the noise, then sends the detected audio to the animatronic mannequin. The mannequin responds by saying various things. I feel fantastic, hey, 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 and so on. The different pitches in the screams make the mannequin move and speak in different ways. At the end, when the mannequin stops moving, it means there is no more noise coming from the victim. Also, the fact that the mannequin is dressed up in 2 different outfits and wearing 2 different wigs makes me believe that he dressed the mannequins to look like his victims, possibly even in his victims' clothing. The agonizing screams from his victims make him feel fantastic, so he translated his feelings into a sort of sick art project. This obviously holds zero weight, but people kept going with these theories anyway, even to this day. So many unanswered questions and a tangled web of theories, some just downright outlandish. It begs the question, what is the truth behind these mysterious creations? Our story might actually begin in 1965 with the birth of John L. Bergeron Jr. It is also quite possible that the creator behind Terra was actually his father, John Bergeron Sr., so no one's actually sure who the original creator was. That aside, there are many archive conversations between him and various others. He had worked at IBM, thus giving us evidence his creations were something he had extensive amounts of experience in. Experience with computer-controlled robotics. I used to work on the equipment at IBM. Now, it was somewhere in the 1990s that the first ever photo of John's creation Terra was posted onto DPRG, or the Dallas Personal Robotics Group, which is a radically different Terra from the Terra we all know and love from the viral video. These are what to believe to be the earliest prototype of Terra, and I must be honest in that they are absolutely terrifying to look at. In 1996, an archive Google Groups conversation discussed Annette, the experimental simple android, which further proved his experience in robotics. And this actually isn't the only time that this Annette is mentioned, as on April 19th, he was once again posting onto Google Groups about his creation. We can use this as even further evidence that John had experience in robotics. And in fact, Annette, Terra are not his only creations. We know he made this robotic hand, which looks very similar to Terra's hand, as well as this cute little robot. This is the highest quality images and only surviving video we have of it. Back to the archive conversations, John had many strange conversations with people. It's hard to resist asking a lot of obvious sophomore questions like, is she inflatable or similar? You have an android which solves the healthcare crisis? Even a fat-ass lawyer from Chicago married to a corrupt Arkansas cracker politician couldn't pull that one off. Can she be used for recreational sex? There would be a big market for it. Reading through these conversations, I kind of can't help but wonder if people were just not taking John that seriously, and this seems to be like an overarching theme in the majority of these conversations. It is revealed in a lot of these conversations that John really wanted to rent out Terra, but I wasn't able to find if anyone ever followed through in any of these conversations. He believed in his creations so much, he believed he could become a trendsetter with the right help. Hello, I would like to become a trendsetter, specifically by starting the personal android trend, which could become as popular as the personal computer trend, which has taken over the world. My genius designs will be the key to this trend's success, but I can't do it alone. And it was in October of 2000 that John began to expand, and Terra was posted onto AndroidWorld.com. Once more, still looking quite different than the Terra we all know. Terra, the female android, has been built by John Bergeron at a cost of about $2,000. By 2001, Terra began to take on the form that we are all familiar with. From AndroidBuilder.com, we find out John Bergeron, experienced electrical engineer, he designed the android and the other products shown above. VHS videotapes of his projects are available within the US, and we'll return to this interesting little tidbit in just a few minutes. So now, on May 25th, 2005, the first videos of Terra singing were posted onto the very GeoCity website that we mentioned in the beginning. This is the beginning of the source material in terms of being posted online. I do wonder if this is where I Feel Fantastic was originally posted, and this is the very start of the journey. This website is believed to belong to John, something he himself created. So now jumping way ahead to the year 2020, a Medium article by Yitzi Lit was published. Yitzi was so thorough in their investigation of I Feel Fantastic. Yitzi was someone who decided to look into I Feel Fantastic and wrote a Medium article based around it. Yitzi was successful in this measure and located a link to AndroidWorld.com and discovered that purchasing this very DVD was still a possible option. Yitzi ordered a copy of the unique music video and probably forgot about the whole project when nothing arrived after a few weeks. One day, a few months later, I received a package on my doorstep with this inside. Yitzi now had access to the original DVD and source material of Terra. This is very interesting to note because someone was still manufacturing these or holding on to the DVDs all this time. This DVD featured 5 different songs, and most interestingly, I Feel Fantastic's real name is Please. Yitzi actually began this in 2018 and posted the entire collection of songs onto their YouTube channel. And Yitzi also went through the Wayback Machine. Finally, for some strange reason, listed on December 14th, 2007, I found an unusual update to the website, showing simply this file with the caption, "Here is a low-res picture I made resembling a circuit." And seemingly this was the last update from John. This same image, as well as 2 others, were posted onto a Flickr account under the name Kai2468 in September of 2006, but seemingly this was the last update from John ever. John went radio silent after 2007. Every single website linking to him, his content, and just about everything regarding him went completely inaccessible eventually. We only have most of the info we have now because of internet sleuths who heavily relied on the use of the Wayback Machine. But it's largely believed that John unfortunately died in 2005 as someone tracked down this obituary. John L. Bergeron, 65, died unexpectedly at his home Friday, July 22nd, 2005. He had worked for IBM for many years, retiring in 1995. He presently worked at Husky. Surviving are his children, John Bergeron of Milton. John Bergeron Jr. is mentioned in the obituary itself, and to this day, it remains largely inconclusive as to which John actually created Terra, or if they were both involved in the creation somehow. However, the timelines do seem to match up, that it was John Sr. who created Terra, but that doesn't mean that John Jr. didn't play a role. If someone was updating the website in 2007, then someone still had access to the creative projects, and access to John's accounts. The Flickr account that posted those 3 images was in 2006, a year after John Sr. died, but a year before the final update on the website. Going back to Yitzi's Medium article, this comment was left by Zim. This is a great overview, but there is still a little left that goes unanswered here. I'm making a comment here for posterity's sake. It seems that the Terra in the original videos and the one in Piercing the Android videos are the same. Take a look at Halloween Android's Standing Around video. There are pieces of furniture, namely the stripy couch, that line up exactly to Bergeron's place. As to why the tone is so different, I think it's very likely that the Halloween videos were made by one of the Bergeron's relatives. If the 2005 obituary is to be believed, probably his son, John Bergeron of Milton. Not to move too far into speculation, but the timing of these videos makes sense if John Jr. was cleaning up his father's house and decided to mess around with his father's animatronic. Whatever the scenario, we can be almost certain that the Halloween videos were produced by a close friend or relative by these 3 things. They know how to run Terra, they have access to John Sr.'s house, they know the context about what Terra was created for. Is it possible that someone in the family inherited these bots and decided to use them one last time before they were sold, put away, or deconstructed? Certainly. Comparisons of Terra to this Terra don't exactly add up, and the house is different. But hold on to your hats, ladies and gentlemen, because we're going to be returning to this as well in just a moment. On Yitzi's video, at JuxtaposedLime2734 posted this comment. She was made by John, but not in the way you all think. She was created by John as a prototype for a singing robot project. Had she been successful, she would have been the closest to what a Vocaloid is and possibly earned the same fame as Hatsune Miku. Because of how difficult it was and how hard it is to configure the mannequin, which is why he can only turn the head and hands. Terra's voice bank is extremely limited, which gives her a creepy, monotone sound. It's either that content or John is very bad at tuning her. The only problem is that John is limited in his resources when it comes to music, and it shows that he's not well versed in filmography, which is why his videos come off as creepy. The scenic shots that were shown in a few of his videos, the most notable one, I Feel Fantastic, are done for cinematic effect and not a subliminal message. He also works on other projects as well, such as QUASR music. A friend of his mentioned that John was devastated because he's being harassed online and being called a murderer and wishes for his name to be cleared of the false accusations. Now let's jump forward to 2022. A channel by the name of Crappy Pastry, aka James, posted Android Music Video Volume 2 Restored with a description explaining his grandfather had bought the VHS tapes with never heard before audio and never seen before footage, although when these were created, I am entirely unsure, and this may have been the last pieces of content regarding Tara. James thankfully uploaded the entirety of the content on these tapes and what could be saved. James' comment on this video led me to another channel, Truth is Scarier Than Fiction, where a now deleted video in 2020 claimed they knew the truth and were related to John Bergeron. However, it is completely unprovable and has since been deleted. Okay, it's honestly time for the truth to come out. So here it is, and trust me, this is going to be difficult to believe. John Bergeron is a relative of mine, a close one. He does in fact live in Vermont, I'm not going to disclose where, and he indeed made these videos, but no, he is not a damn serial killer, and those aren't the clothes of his victims, contrary to what the whole internet is believing now. Instead, he created Tara as a dream future project of his. He was always into gadgets, robotics, and upcoming technologies, according to my mother, and he created it to try to be a pioneer in both the robotics and music industry. He thought it'd be the future, something that would put his, and dare I say, her name out there. However, like you can find out on his old website, the project did not go well at all, and Tara couldn't work to his ideal potential. So he scrapped her altogether, and it cost him around $3,600 in the end. Even though he was bummed at the time he moved on, until people have constantly been calling and emailing him bringing up the memories of Tara. John is not a rude person, but all these questionings and pesterings about him being a murderer are putting him down, especially since all of these YouTube videos are popping up describing Tara's videos as being some of the creepiest on the web. Yes, I do consider them a bit off, but they're still art in John's mind, and that's what's ticking him off. He told me to create video basically just for this description info, and yes, he's done with Tara for good, as his old website, GeoCities Android Music Videos, suggests. You can check out some of his old videos and music on there by going to Wayback and searching it, where you'll see his past streams. So yes, this is real. 100% legit wording coming from a close relative of John. So please, enough of the rumors. Thanks. In a follow-up video, Truth is Scarier Than Fiction mentioned how a Reddit user by the name of Trip recreated John's old website with never-seen-before images, as well as an extremely short video clip of Tara saying hello.
Hello.
So, remember before this comment? It seems that the Tara in the original videos and the one in Piercing the Android videos are the same. This Tara saying hello strikes an astonishing resemblance to this Tara, the Tara from the Halloween Android channel. We know John created several prototypes of her, so is this possible the more disturbing videos of Tara were not a copycat, but rather the very same Tara, from the same creator or creators? Furthermore, look at this. A comparison of what James uploaded to this video, so similar, we now know this wasn't a mere copycat, but someone who had access to Tara, and this extremely unsettling, hard to find footage. Because if John died in 2005, Halloween Android was posting in what, 2009? If someone in 2009 was re-uploading these videos, that means someone had access to John's accounts. Someone had access to this footage. This would not have been a well-known thing. And from everything I can find, these videos have not been posted anywhere else but this channel. It's extremely hard to know, but this comment was left on the video Piercing the Android. This video was recorded in 2001. This version of Tara is older and only rotated the head horizontally. On John's website, made at the same time, it is possible to see that it is the same curtain and the same sofa as in this video, in addition to the barrel-shaped speaker being the same as Tara's 2004. Which means, irregardless, this content had to be coming from one of the Bergerons. These videos have been posted nowhere else, which meant someone still had access after John Sr.'s death. James and Truth is Scarier Than Fiction worked together to try and investigate Tara more thoroughly, and eventually they ended up in contact with someone named Laura. Laura made these claims and agreed to send Tara to James. But unfortunately, the entirety of this situation turned out to be fake. For whatever reason, this person decided to mislead them and send them down a complete rabbit hole. To this day, where Tara is remains completely unknown, and this was the last traceable lead into an ongoing case. Now, in 2015, Goddess of the Hobos claimed she found John's number online, and guess what she did? She gave this man a call. An extremely odd phone conversation followed, and there was no follow-up on the story after that.
Hello. Hello, is this John? Is it John Bergeron?
What's this about? I got a lot of things I need to do.
Of course, yes. My name is Kendra. I'm with the robotics department at University of British Columbia, and I was just calling, were you the person who did the Tara the Robot by chance? I'm working on a story about it.
The problem is, I got a lot of things I really need to do. I don't have time to talk.
Okay. Would it be easier if I could email you by chance?
Yeah, I just don't have the time to deal with this.
Okay, have I got the right person at least?
I gotta go.
Have I got the right person? Okay.
Despite the lack of information and the many dead ends, the internet's interest in this story never actually ended, with mentions from Vsauce, PewDiePie, and even as recent as Smiling Friends making a reference to her, the topic of Tara remains as socially relevant as ever. I think the truth is never going to be known in full, unless John, a related family member, one day decides to speak out with proof. We may never know who is the true creator of Tara. We may never know what happened to her or Annette or the robot or any of his other creations. And most likely we will never see Tara in her original form again. It is likely she was deconstructed. So let's say for a moment that John Jr. did have something to do with Tara. The phone call made it seem to me that if this John was the correct John, he sounded so tired of being harassed and contacted. Imagine internet sleuths, fans, and just general curious people constantly seeking you out and questioning if you were the creator of something that the internet tore to shreds. Would you feel fantastic? If John Jr. did have something to do with Tara, or he was her creator, we can't exactly blame him for not wanting to be in the limelight. Whatever truth remains, at the end of the day, this story is really less creepy and more sad. In the end, John wasn't trying to create a horror story. He wasn't someone sick and twisted, he wasn't a murderer, and he wasn't burying his victims. He was just a man who was using his preset skills to create an extremely odd technology and form of art. As the internet has a tendency to do, they turned his work into something far beyond the original intention. Something eerie, unsettling, and vile. And maybe that's what makes the story linger to this day. Not the horror, but the misunderstanding behind it all. In case you're wondering what's on here, you might be sitting here at the end of all this and you're like, that's not satisfying. I know this story comes across as extremely unsatisfying in the end, but with all the information we have, we still actually really don't know that much. It's my belief that Tara doesn't actually exist anymore, and as a fellow creative, it's honestly very hard to see stuff like this because people can so misconstrue your intentions and turn something that you worked tirelessly on into the most horrifying, twisted story imaginable. I don't even know how these stories began. It's just crazy what the internet does. This is a series that I'm hoping to expand over the following year. Maybe every month or every other month. I don't know. I'm kind of getting feel for things right now. This is all brand new to me. This took so many months of research, scripting, filming, editing. That intro alone took me like 6 hours to make. It's become such a huge passion project, but I loved every second of this. This is where my heart is, man. Yeah, so no promises on how frequent this is gonna pop up on my channel, but it is something I really want to kinda more into the future. And there's no reason to be scared of this video now that you know the whole truth. You can just cry when you watch it. This video was made 100% by me, and if it wasn't for the person who created this Google file, you saved my life, I love you, who created the most well put together timeline I've ever seen. Truth is scarier than fiction. Crappy Pastry, aka James. Yitzi Lit, Count the Clock, who was a Medium article that Yitzi Lit referenced. All the people in the intro of this video, like everyone who has poured their heart and soul into figuring the story out, really helped the story come together in a unsatisfactory way. I couldn't have done it without all these resources, and they will all be linked down below. I love the internet, man. I love internet history, and it's so fun to dive into. So if you want to support stuff like this going forward, here's 3 things you can do for me. 1, like the video. 2, subscribe if you want to see more like this. And 3, comment your thoughts about what you thought of the video, or internet mysteries you want to see investigated. I'm open. Or anything you're just too scared to check out yourself. I'll be brave, and I'll do it. So thank you all so much for watching. Hopefully you all enjoyed, and hopefully I will see you all here next time.